Now we come to the main objective of this talk, which is constraint optimization problem. A general constraint optimization problem is of the form: maximize or minimize a function phi of x1, x2, x3, xn subject to the constraints psi I of x1, x2, xn is equal to 0 for I varies from 1 to 3 up to m. We use the Lagrangian multiplier method to find a stationary point for this problem subject to the given constraints. The Lagrangian multiplier method is given as follows. First, we have to confirm that the number of constraints should be less than the number of variables. Next, we introduce a function capital F which is equal to small phi minus sigma lambda I psi I for some unknown scalars lambda I varies from 1 to m. Third, we have to find the partial derivative of capital F with respect to all xj's. Now we have to find all possible values of xj's lambda i's from the given constraints along with the new equations dou f by dou xj is equal to 0 for every j varies from 1 to n, provided the solution exists. Such solutions are stationary points for this problem. The nature of the critical point or stationary point will be concluded by geometrical or physical meaning of the given problem. Now we state the theorem which justifies the Lagrangian multiplier method. Let phi be a continuously differentiable scalar valued function from an open subset S of R power n. If W is a local extrema for phi subject to the constraint psi I of W is 0 for all I varies from 1 to m with m is less than n, such that the rank of the matrix dj psi I of W is m. Then there are scalars lambda I such that W is a stationary point for the function f is equal to phi minus sigma lambda I psi I where I varies from 1 to m. Now we see the detailed proof of this theorem. We are given with the rank of the matrix dj psi I of U is m. Note that the order of the matrix is m cross n, where the number of rows m is strictly less than the number of columns. Since rank of the matrix is the number of independent column vectors of the matrix, we find m column vectors, say j1, j2, jm, such that they are linearly independent. We keep these columns in the right last by rearranging if necessary. We assume that the columns jk are given by n minus m plus k, where k varies from 1 to m, so that we get determinant of dn minus m plus k of psi I at W is not equal to 0. Next we introduce some notations which are suitable to apply the implicit function theorem. We define a map psi from an open subset S of R power n into R power m by psi is equal to psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi m. We write the n tuple z, z1, z2, zn as the ordered pair x comma y, where x is having the first n minus m coordinates of z and y is having the last m coordinates of z. Similarly, the vector w is also denoted by ordered pair u comma v, where u is having the first n minus m coordinates of w and v has the last m coordinates of w. By assumption, psi I of w is 0 for all I varies from 1 to m. That is, psi of w is equal to 0. In other words, psi of u comma v is equal to 0. Earlier we have concluded that the determinant of the matrix Dn minus m plus k psi I of W is non-zero. That is also rewritten as the determinant of dou psi by dou y of u comma v is non-zero. Now we can apply the implicit function theorem on psi. Then there exists an open subset T of S and an open subset E of r power m and a C1 function sigma from E into r power m such that the set of all x comma y belongs to T such that psi of x comma y is equal to 0 is same as the set of all x comma sigma x where x varies in E. Therefore, we have psi of x comma sigma x is equal to 0 for all x in E. Therefore, we get that psi I of x comma sigma x is equal to 0 for all x in E and for all I varies from 1 to 3 up to m. Note that this x is having n minus m coordinates. Therefore, partially differentiating psi I of x comma sigma x equal to 0 with respect to xj on both sides of the equation using the chain rule, we get that dj of psi I of x comma sigma x plus sigma k varies from 1 to m dn minus m plus k psi I of x comma sigma x into dj of sigma k of x, which is equal to 0 for all x in E for all I varies from 1 to m. Since W is equal to u comma v and it is a member of E, from the previous equation we get that dj of psi I at W plus sigma k varies from 1 to m dn minus m plus k of psi I at u comma sigma u multiplied by dj of sigma k at u is equal to 0 for all I varies from 1 to m and for all j varies from 1 to n minus m. We have W is equal to u comma v and psi of W 0 and W is a stationary point of phi. Therefore, from an earlier equation we can write uv as u comma sigma u with u is in E. So, we conclude that u is a stationary point of the function phi of x comma sigma x where x varies through E. Therefore, the partial derivative of phi of x comma sigma x with respect to xj evaluated at u is equal to 0 for all j varies from 1 to 3 up to n minus m. Applying the chain rule, we get that dj of phi at u comma sigma u plus sigma k varies from 1 to m d n minus m plus k of phi at u comma sigma u into dj of sigma k evaluated at u is equal to 0. Again substituting W is equal to u comma sigma u, we get that dj of phi at W plus sigma k varies from 1 to m d n minus m plus k phi at W into dj of sigma k of u is equal to 0 for all j varies from 1 to 3 up to n minus m. Consider the system of homogeneous linear equations as shown in the slide. The coefficient matrix has the order m plus 1 cross m plus 1. The first row of the coefficient matrix has the partial derivatives of phi only. The first entry of the first row is the partial derivative of phi with respect to the jth variable, and the remaining entries of the first row are the partial derivatives of phi with respect to the last m variables. The first entry of the second row is the partial derivative of psi 1 with respect to the jth variable, and the remaining entries of the second row are the partial derivatives of psi 1 with respect to the last m variables. Similarly, the remaining rows are giving the partial derivative of psi k at the first entry, and the remaining are the partial derivatives of psi k with respect to the last m variables. which can be simply expressed in the block form. This matrix has 4 blocks. The first left entry is dj of phi at w, and the right top is dou phi by dou y evaluated at w, which is a row matrix, and the left bottom is a column matrix which is dj psi evaluated at w, and the right bottom is a square matrix of order m cross m, which is having the entries as dou psi by dou y evaluated at w. Similarly, the variable vector psi, zeta 1, zeta 2, etc., zeta m can also be written in the block form. Psi and zeta is the column vector of order m cross 1. From the previous slide, we observe that this system of linear equations has the non-trivial solution 1 dj sigma 1 of u, dj sigma 2 of u, etc., dj sigma m of u. Consider another system of linear equations shown in equation number 4. We can easily observe that the coefficient matrix of this system of linear equations is the transpose of the coefficient matrix of the linear equation discussed in the previous slide. Since the coefficient matrix of system of linear equations in the previous slide is singular, the coefficient matrix of the system of linear equations in this slide is also singular. Therefore, the system of linear equations in equation number 4 has a non-trivial solution. In particular, dropping the first row, we get a subsystem of linear equations which is also having a non-trivial solution. The system of linear equations given in 5 can be solved by simple manipulations. We expand the system as dou phi by dou y w transpose into psi plus dou psi by dou y w transpose into zeta, which is equal to 0. Using that dou psi by dou y w transpose is invertible, zeta can be obtained as minus of dou psi by dou y w transpose whole inverse into psi times dou phi by dou y w transpose. We observe that this solution zeta is depending on the parameter psi. By putting psi is equal to 1, we get a solution and denote that solution by minus lambda. Therefore, 1 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2, etc., minus lambda m is satisfying the equation given in 4. Therefore, expanding the system of linear equations given in 4 with the solution 1 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2, etc., minus lambda m, we get that dj phi of w minus lambda 1 times dj psi 1 of w minus lambda 2 times dj psi 2 of w, etc., minus lambda m times dj psi m of w, which is equal to 0 for all j varies from 1 to 3, etc., n. Therefore, gradient of phi minus sigma lambda I psi I at w is equal to 0, which completes the proof of this theorem. Thank you for listening this discussion. I hope that you may have enjoyed this lecture.